All right, guys, what's up? It's Preston. Carter couldn't make it today, so I am solo running this podcast episode. But it's okay because I carry all the podcast episodes anyways, with my superior humor, intellect, and conversational skills and sports takes. So, it's fine. But
Are you sure about
anyways,
that?
today, yes, today we are going to be talking about some football, as we will be for the next like 20 weeks probably.
So,
But
so, I want to get into a game that is near and dear to my heart first.
fair enough.
Everybody wrote off the Seahawks, including myself, and I am to blame to this.
Oh, we're starting with NFL. Interesting. All right.
But as the greatest quarterback in NFL history, Geno Smith once said, they wrote me off. I ain't right back yet. Yeah!
Oh boy.
Even though Wagner doesn't play for the team anymore, he's still like one of my favorite players.
Yeah.
Go Hawks, baby.
Well, since we're talking about NFL, I guess we'll start. We'll go to Sunday night next. Work our way back. With the Dallas Cowboys being the only team in Week One to not score a touchdown.
Yeah, big L for the
So
Cowboys. Losing Dak Prescott for what seems to be probably until November. Tough loss. Tough loss for a team that really didn't have much good. I don't want to say not much good to begin with, but you could tell in that game their offense was definitely lacking. I mean, scoring 3 points, and I'm pretty sure that was opening drive too, wasn't it? Didn't they score on their
it
first
was.
drive?
Yep.
Yeah, and then they just didn't do anything else. I mean, give credit to the Tampa Bay defense; they played really well, but Zeke looked bad. The offensive line did not look very Dallas Cowboys esque. Dak did not look very good, and I don't even know who they're going to throw to.
Yeah. I mean, they have CD Lamb, but other than that, they got nothing. But yeah.
There are some teams that can
Apparently,
get away with a one man receiving crew. Like if you have a Cooper Cup, a Devontae Adams, Jefferson, Jamar Chase, if you have any of those guys, you can get away with a one man receiving crew. CD Lamb is not that
yeah.
guy.
But apparently, Dak is expected to be back in 4 weeks now. He's not going on IR
Oh,
because Jerry Jones announced he's expecting to be back within the window before he has to go on IR.
that's.
So,
I hope so for the Cowboys' sake.
yeah.
Other notable
Well,
injuries
I don't
going
hope so because I'm not a huge Cowboys fan. But other injuries, we got Elijah Mitchell out for I think like 2 months.
4 to 6 weeks
Uh,
on Elijah Mitchell, or was
but
it
then we
six?
have
No, it was 6 to 8. I think
yeah,
TJ Watt is 6 weeks. Uh, you know, one of the greatest trades in NFL history was the Seattle Seahawks trading for Jamal Adams and two first round
oh
picks.
boy, here we go again.
That was
Jamal
a
Adams is not that good.
no Jamal Adams. No, that was a wonderful trade. Not on our part.
Jamal,
It was a wonderful trade on the Jets' part, but not on ours. Jamal Adams has another
yeah,
most likely season-ending injury in Week 1, meaning
yeah,
he has yet to play a full season for the Seahawks. The only notable thing he has done is break the sack record for a defensive back, which I'm not sure sacks is the intercept for the stat you want. You'd much rather have interceptions. But I
yeah.
mean, this
He
this dude
also,
this dude has as many career interceptions as like Vince Wilfork, and that's not good.
yeah, he also got hit in the head with a ball that he dove for to catch and did not come down with it. So,
How
you
in
know,
the how
not
in the world did he pick off Aaron Rodgers last year? Aaron
no
Rodgers must
clue.
have been on some of them drugs that he been taking, dude. It was
Yeah,
like this guy looks like a receiver. Let me throw it to him.
yeah. And then as far as the other games go, I guess we're just working our way backwards. So I guess we'll go to the 4:30 games. Chargers,
Chargers.
I was not surprised with at all. I took Chargers money line because that was a pretty easy pick for
Justin
me.
Herbert is like I don't know. There's So I feel like Mahomes is probably still the best quarterback in the NFL, although that's up for debate for the first time I feel like in a while. Um, but Justin Herbert might be the most fun quarterback to watch. It's either him or Josh Allen, because we're used to
Yeah,
seeing this
I'm
stuff out
really
of Mahomes now. Like you come to expect him to make these kind of 5 touchdown games because he makes it look easy. He makes it look like a regular thing. But seeing the guys like Josh Allen and Justin Herbert, these big physical specimens, do it, it's just awesome.
yeah, I'm really big on Herbert. Drafted him in one of my fantasy leagues. I was going to draft him in another one, and he got picked up right before I got that
Oh,
pick. But I love Herbert. I feel like he's going to finish definitely in the running for Offensive Player of the Year. I don't know if he'll get it, but he's my front runner right now for it. And I feel like I got Josh Allen as my MVP pick.
I think that's a pretty safe pick. Although he did have 3 interceptions or 2 interceptions, but I wouldn't say either of those were necessarily his fault. But we'll get to that game in a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah. Then Minnesota also did not surprise me. Um,
Mm-mm.
I really wanted to take the Packers money line because it's hard to bet against the Packers even when they're underdogs. But I expected Minnesota to clobber them, which they did. What I didn't expect is the New York Giants beating Tennessee. Like,
That was your sleeper team too. I'll give you props for that. You had that as your
yeah,
sleeper team. And I will say Saquon carried me in fantasy this week, dude. So we got this thing going on with me and some of the guys I'm in school with where you ever been to the community college that I'm going to?
yeah,
You know how there's that
yeah,
lake out front, right?
yeah.
I don't want to finish last.
Fair enough.
That lake water
Fair
does
enough.
that does not seem like a very good place to swim. And
Yeah,
whoever finishes in last place is going for a swim. So
yeah.
Saquon very well bailed me out. Saquon and Cooper Cup. I was playing against Josh Allen, who had like an amazing game, so that was kind of tough. But other than that, oh, in my fantasy lineup took a hit. I have Keenan Allen and T Higgins.
Oof. But yeah, I mean, Saquon looked like he was back to like 2000, what, 16, 17 form whenever he was, when was he? Maybe 2018. Man, I went way too far
Yeah,
back.
yeah, you went too far back.
Saquon's like,
He's a
yeah,
2018
but
pick, I believe.
yeah, but anyways, he looks really good again. I don't want to jinx him. I'm knocking on the wood right here, but yeah, he looked good. I have him in one of my fantasy drafts, picked him up really late,
Mm-hmm.
and that might be a sleeper pick that wins me that league. So
So here's my thing on Saquon. It looked good, but he had a lot of touches. They gave him the ball a lot, and
well, that's
the
to be
Titan
expected in that
yeah,
offense. You got to expect him to get a lot of touches.
but the Titans defense is not over the last couple of years has not been one of the best defensive units. They got better at the end of last year, but they only got better on the pass protecting end or the pass defense end. They did not look very good in the run and stop last year at all. And so, while I do think the 162 yards I believe Saquon had was really good, I'm anxious to see if he carries that over to whoever else they're playing. Who do they play this week? Do you know?
Who the Giants?
The Giants play.
The Giants play the Panthers this week.
Oh, he'll go off for like 250 probably.
Should be an easy win for him.
Yeah, especially since the
All
Giants
right.
really aren't going to air it out that much.
Yeah. And
O-
then I
Other
think the only
four.
other 4:30 game was Chiefs Cardinals blowout.
Do we really even
I
need to
mean,
talk about that? I mean, that was
I mean,
embarrassing. If you are, and
I
as a
don't think
Seahawks fan, I loved watching the Cardinals get torn up. In fact, we are currently first place in the NFC West. Checkmate, everybody else. We're not as terrible as you think we are, says the guy in glasses that light up, a hat signed by like 5 different people in my Wagner jersey.
yeah, I mean, there's not really anything exciting to talk about there. Patrick Mahomes looked like he should have looked. I mean, Kelsey looked good. Kyler Murray looked okay. Like I didn't see a ton of the game, but he looked
Eh.
okay. The Chiefs didn't struggle without Tyreek Hill. That's the only big
That
thing.
that was the only big
Cardinals,
news thing coming into that was how was Mahomes and how was the Chiefs offense going to adapt. And I'll be honest, I was skeptical about it. Like I was like, okay, so now that they don't have to double Tyreek Hill, they can throw extra bodies on Travis Kelsey, and who's going to step up? Well, Smith Schuster and Valdez Scantling, I guess, will be targets. Not to mention, I'm pretty
yeah,
sure Mahomes spaced the ball out to like three different running backs, like five different receivers, and two tight ends. So no problem
yeah,
there.
and I'm really big on Sky Moore stepping into that position. Uh, I mean, he's a great deep threat. I hope he gets some playing time. I hope I get to see him in action. So I'm looking forward to that.
I want to bring
But
it. I want to bring attention to something.
all right, go for it.
So when we had this little sure picks thing, where it's like this team will definitely win. Your team didn't win; they tied.
I
Which
mean, they
a
didn't
tie
lose
against
either.
a tie against the Houston Texans may as well be a loss because if you're playing any other team in the NFL, that's a loss.
It's time in the record books, and Hot Rod Blankenship is now off the Colts. So
That's
that's
funny.
uh that's a little tough for him.
I find
I
it
always liked him.
hilarious. Dude, some people thought he was like a top five kicker in the NFL. I'm like, dude, just because the guy wears glasses and is like kind of a nerd does not mean he's like the best kicker right now. Like I would rather
Yeah,
have Justin Tucker over any kicker in the NFL. And honestly, I mean, I know this is part bias because I'm a Seahawks fan, but Jason Myers has not missed many kicks in the last couple of years. You go back and look at the Seahawks kicking stats, dude. He has been amazing.
I mean, yeah, but nobody's talking about him like Justin Tucker because, he doesn't hit the huge 60 something yarder game winners. It takes a lot to get attention as a kicker. So
You know who did? You know who got a lot of attention as a kicker this past week, though?
go ahead.
Or just the Steelers and Bengals game in general. I think there were like
Yeah,
four missed kicks. So let's see. I don't know if we had. Okay, so I know the Bengals long snapper was hurt. They tie the game, and this was an electrifying game. T.J. Watt getting hurt kind of stinks. Steelers got banged up pretty bad in that game. Like it's their roster could be a bit shallow for the next couple weeks. But at the end of regulation, it was 20-20. Bengals go up to kick a PAT to try to win the game. It gets blocked.
yeah,
Going to overtime, I believe the Steelers got the ball, punted it away. I think they went 3-and-out and punted. And Bengals got down to where it was a 29-yard field goal.
yeah,
And I watched the ball to make sure because I was watching this with my dad and my brother. And they were like, dude, that kicker's like terrible. What in the world? They kept talking about how he was money and stuff. I'm like, there's no way he missed it that bad. He must have kicked some laces. And so you go back and look at it, and the snap almost went over the holder's head. Like he had to like stand up to catch the ball pretty much. And when he put it down, I mean, it was right on the laces. So
yeah,
McPherson pulled that ball way left. Um,
yeah,
Steelers kicker missed one. Boswell missed one from either 50. I think it was 55. He missed one. Titans kicker missed a field goal to end the game. And then for some
yep.
reason,
There were,
Nathaniel Hackett decided to kick a 64-yard field goal instead of giving Russ the ball. Sounds like something Pete Carroll would
yeah,
do.
yeah. There were a lot of missed kicks. That seems to be the big theme week one. Um, so there's a few games we haven't touched on. Hit me with your most exciting game of the week. It can be one we touched on or one we haven't touched on. Uh,
Personally
what's
speaking,
your
personally speaking, the Seahawks Broncos game just because it was a conflict of interest seeing Russ come back. And this is where I differ. A lot of the Seahawks fans are probably going to hate me for this, but why the hell are y'all booing Russell Wilson? He brought us
yeah,
10 great years of football, the best player in franchise history unless you think it's Steve Largent, which I could see. But he was the franchise quarterback for our only Super Bowl win and like a majority of our relevant tender in the NFL. Why would you boo him?
all right,
Sure, he left on his own accord, but I think that was a bit harsh.
all
But in
right.
terms of my
Going
most interesting game, let me think here.
yeah, going outside the Seahawks.
Yeah, outside
Slightly
my
biased, if you
out
like
my
to admit it or
slight
not.
bias. See, what did I gain? The Steelers and Bengals game was really good.
Yeah,
Even though Joe Burrow looked like an average quarterback. which I've said this, I've been on record saying this. I think Joe Burrow's playoff run last year was more so about good timing from the rest of his team rather than him. But Joe Burrow's a good quarterback. He'll bounce back. Um, Titans game, the Titans and Giants was all right.
Yeah.
Chargers and Raiders was a good game. I can tell you which game I had the most fun watching though,
What's that?
and this might be because of the situation and because of when it was. But that Thursday night Rams versus Bills game was so awesome. And again, it
Yeah.
could totally be because I haven't watched an NFL game or a real NFL game, not a preseason game, since the Super Bowl. But I think honestly, looking at how the games kind of played out, that game had the most action. Because if you look at a lot of these games, were either blowouts or like really close with not a lot of scoring. Like there wasn't a really high scoring close game on except for like the Eagles and Lions, but that one was a blowout and then the Lions got some garbage time points. But that even
Yeah.
though it was 31-10, that was like one of the best showings I've seen from an offense. I mean, Josh Allen came out slinging it. He had two picks. The first one definitely wasn't his fault. I mean, McKenzie just basically tossed it right into the defender's hand. And then the other one, he did throw it a bit behind him, but still, I mean, it was an unfortunate bounce. But the Bills looked so good.
Yeah. For me, obviously, I love the Dolphins game.
Hey, fins
Tua
up,
is
baby.
now two fins up, baby. Tua is now 4-0 against Bill Belichick. So,
Let's
you know,
go.
I love to see that. Tua looked decent. He threw a few bad passes, but for the most part, he was good.
Did you
Tyreek
see?
Hill,
I'm assuming you saw the high snap one where he threw it like 5 yards in the
yeah,
dirt.
yeah, I saw that. But other than that, he looked good. Tyreek Hill caught a lot of balls. Jalen Waddle with a big 47-yard touchdown
Should I
on
do my
fourth
Waddle
and
impression?
7.
Should I do my Waddle
Go for it.
impression?
Go for
All right, hang on. I gotta get all the way in the camera for this.
it. Yeah, what that was a big call. Fourth and 7 with like 20 seconds left in the first half, and
Mm-hmm.
not only did they go for it, but they threw it in a tight window in double coverage to Waddle on a slant route right over the middle of the field, and he burns the entire defense and just takes it in for a touchdown. And then Tyreek Hill hitting us with the best quote of week one after the game that Mike McDaniel is going to need a wheelbarrow to carry on his nuts after that one.
I don't know,
Oh,
man. That's probably the second best quote.
you're going to go with Geno Smith,
Oh yeah,
and you're going to be
absolutely.
wrong every day of the
100
week.
100%. Nope, Geno Smith. Dude, here's the thing. Tyreek Hill's quote was funnier, but let's be real here. Did anyone, realistically picking, did anyone have the Seahawks beating Russell Wilson? No.
Yes, yes.
No.
In fact, I was watching the game in a sports bar, and one of my buddies had taken Seattle money line, and he was cheering the entire time. So
I was so pleasantly surprised. Now, but see, it makes my outlook on the season look a lot different though. Because while I want us here's what needs to happen. We either need to suck or the Broncos need to suck. One of the two. Now, I don't think the Broncos, and I've touched on this before, they're in the hardest division in football. They're not going to make the playoffs, I don't think. If they do it, they'll be number 7. But their pick will probably be somewhere between like 13 to 20. It really comes down to our
that's
pick.
fair.
And while it is nice to get a win. We got to figure out our quarterback situation because I love Geno Smith, especially after what he did last night. But he's already up. I mean, he was drafted in 2014. He is he's a good player, but he's not somebody that's like the right age and the right build to fit the rebuild that we're stuck in right now.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, if I had to go unbiased with my like most exciting game for me to watch this week, this one's gonna shock you, and I know you weren't gonna say this one. So,
49ers and
um,
Bears.
yep, 49ers and Bears, two
the Rain
new
Fest.
quarterbacks. I would have loved to see that game in like just good weather, just to see Trey Lance in action for the first time.
I thought it was great.
Uh,
I loved the rain. The slip and slide
you know,
celebration at the end was awesome.
yeah, I didn't see a single snap of that game, but I kept checking in on it while I was at work, and it was just it was a sloppy weather day and a sloppy uh, day for both teams. Bears started sloppy, 49ers finished sloppy. So, I mean, but it's cool to see those new quarterbacks, Fields in his second year, I think, and Trey Lance taking playing his first game in the NFL. So I think it's
All
for a
right.
shame.
Let's touch on
But
this. Baker's return to Carolina.
yep,
Or sorry,
Browns get their
Baker's
first week
sorry,
one.
Baker's first game in Carolina, not return.
Yep,
Cade York
Browns
uh, in a
Browns
week
get their
of
first win in
week one
a
since like
week
what
one game since 2004.
2004. Yep, Cade York and all of the horrible kicking going on this week. This dude walks out there for like his what second career field goal attempt, and he kicked it. And let's just say these are the uprights, right? Imaginary uprights. This ball started out over here and
Yeah, started
snapped its
on the
way
upright.
back in. You could see the Panthers players over there like celebrating, like, "Yeah, we win," and they didn't. The ball kind of hooked back in. As a bowler, it looked very reminiscent of something I would do while throwing a shot at the pins.
Yep.
All right. So,
Yes. Well, that's about all the big
what
ones.
was your overall upset of the week?
Like one that I picked or one that like I was
What was your
excited to see.
most shocking? What do you think was the most shocking win of the week?
Honestly, probably Seattle if I have to look back at. I mean, Giants was kind of shocking, but I could have seen the Giants, at least keeping that one close. I thought Denver was going to blow out Seattle. I didn't think that one was going to be close. I knew that the Vikings were going to beat Green Bay. I don't even think that was an upset. Um, let's
Mine,
see.
mine was I think it's either gonna. I mean, the Seahawks and Broncos one, obviously, but I feel like I've used that one enough, so I have to go with something else. Um, Giants and Titans, but at the same time, I could have seen the Titans losing that one. How about the Bears? Keep in mind, sorry,
Yeah,
the
that's a pretty
49ers.
big one.
The Niners were in the NFC Championship game last year and were one drop interception away from the Super Bowl. And then they lost
Yeah, and
the loss to the
they
Bears.
were also they were third in the power rankings going into week one too.
Yeah, so that was a colossal failure. So that was my
Oh,
upset of the week.
I completely glossed over Pittsburgh beating Cincinnati. That might be the upset of the week.
No,
I, dude, Cincinnati was in the Super Bowl last year.
but Pittsburgh going into the season we knew had a better overall roster than the Bears did.
I mean,
Like
but when you look at
the Bears perception was a like bottom 2 to 3 team in the NFL this year. The Steelers are kind of in this boat where like their team isn't bad. I mean, their defense is still probably a top 5 unit in the NFL maybe. But
well, yeah, they have a great defense, but
they just
their
don't have
defense
a
is just carrying the team.
they didn't have a quarterback. And so like you have those teams that just don't have a quarterback but they have somebody in there to play. And I mean, you even saw it with Trubisky and Matt Nagy in Chicago. Mitch Trubisky can win games if he's carried by a good defense. Sort of like how
Yeah,
Tom Brady can win games if he can throw passes for 3 yards.
yeah. Well, I still think that that was a big upset.
It was.
I thought Cincinnati was gonna blow them out. I mean, the Bengals should have won the Super Bowl last year, if we're being honest. They had like 7 drives in the third and fourth quarter that they did not score on. and they needed one score to win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Joey Burrow comes out firing with four interceptions and a fumble.
Yeah, his
Uh,
first pass of the season was to Minka Fitzpatrick. I saw a review
yeah,
video by one of my favorite YouTubers I've been watching. Um, Shout out to this person. Um, he does like NFL reviews every week. They're actually really funny. But he was like, shout out to Joe Burrow for throwing a touchdown pass on his first pass of the season to Minka Fitzpatrick, who plays for the Steelers.
yeah, yeah. I hate the Dolphins traded him away. I loved Minka.
Yeah, he got a big contract with the Steelers.
Yeah. But anyways, how about we talk some college? Because there were some big upsets there too.
I have two words for you: Sun Belt.
Yeah.
What the
You
actual
know,
heck was that?
you
That
know,
was
a three
awesome.
leg. You hit a if you did a three leg parlay money line for Marshall,
App
App
State.
State, and Washington State, a $100 three leg parlay would have paid you out like I think $116,000.
Now, what if you had taken Holy Cross over Buffalo?
I mean, yeah, but that's not FBS, that's FCS. So,
Buffalo's not.
but yeah,
Buffalo's an FBS school, and
yeah,
Holy
but
Cross won.
Holy Cross is FCS.
Exactly. I
Yeah,
personally think an FCS school beating an FBS school is more impressive than an FBS school beating a top 25.
I mean, not all FCS schools are created equally. I mean, you
That's
got like
true.
North Dakota State University, who's in FCS, and they had like Trey Lance and had a really good
And
team a few
Carson
years
Wentz.
ago. And
No, and then
then,
you look at
yeah,
probably the greatest college football upset of all time, Appalachian State back in '07 against Michigan. But App State had won the previous three FCS championships. So, I mean, they were basically an FBS team at that point already. But how about App State, man, going into A&M? And here's my favorite thing. I asked my pastor this when I went to church. I said, Pastor, what do you think is the greatest waste of money of all time? And he was like, man, that's a tough one. I got to think of it. And I said, well, I got two great examples from this weekend. Marshall got paid $1.2 million to waltz into Notre Dame Stadium and beat them. But it gets better. Appalachian State waltzed into Texas A&M Stadium and got paid $1.5 million to go in there and not just beat them, to crush them. I'm pretty
yeah,
sure Texas A&M had like 19 minutes of time of possession. App State ran them in the ground. It was
yeah.
hilarious. Like Texas A&M, like one of these Power 5 schools that's like predicted to be in the college football playoffs potentially. Yeah, that's not going to happen anymore. And there's one moral of the story here. If you are a Power 5 school in the top 10, stop scheduling Appalachian State. You will lose. It's not a good idea.
Hey, UNC beat them.
But y'all are not a top 10 school.
We could be by the end of the year. We beat Notre
Amarion
Dame next
Amarion
week,
Hampton
and then
bailed you guys out. Notre Dame's not even in the top 25 anymore.
yeah, I know, but we beat Notre Dame, we beat Wake Forest, we beat State. We'll be in the top 25.
Yeah, if you win out, you might be number 24. Well, actually, I take that back.
No,
Do y'all have to play Clemson?
we're already no,
Oh, so you
we're
don't have
already
to deal with
receiving
that.
votes.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, we
NC
will in
State's
the
got a
AFC
decent.
in the ACC championship. So
I mean, I could see that. Who else is on y'all's side of the division in the ACC?
we got Duke on our side. I mean,
Yeah, y'all.
we got
That's not a threat. I think you
we
guys have
got
Miami. You have Miami though, don't you?
we do, yeah.
So that.
And then I think we also have Pitt on our side.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah, y'all. I don't see you getting past Pitt or Miami or Clemson or frankly
I
NC
don't know,
State
Pitt didn't look very good this
against
past week
Tennessee. That's
either,
true.
losing their game.
Hey, I went to the NC State game against Charleston Southern. And I know beating Charleston Southern is like no, like who cares? But we put our second, and third stringers in the second half, and we only let up 150 yards of total offense the entire game.
Yeah,
That
but I mean,
has
you you got to take those with a grain of salt. I mean, it's Charleston Southern, you know.
But that's our second strings. Our second stringers went in there and stopped their first stringers on every down. They scored 3 points, and it's because we fumbled the ball at like the 25-yard line. They actually got backed up. They got negative yardage on that drive and kicked a field goal.
Yeah,
Devin Leary matched a franchise or a school record with 6 touchdowns, two on the ground, and then four air shots. And they were really good. App State and Georgia, sorry, not App State, Carolina and Georgia State was pretty close. In fact, in Carter Finley, everybody there was. So they put it up on the scoreboard, like on the jumbotron. It said Georgia State, North Carolina was tied at 28, and Georgia State had the ball. And everybody in there, because our game is over. I mean, we had won in like midway through the second quarter, but everybody was like, "Go Georgia State!"
I love how NC State always roots against Carolina, and then UNC could care less what's going on with NC State because they're not rivals. So,
Yeah, because y'all are tired of getting
it's,
whooped in football.
no, it's because you guys are irrelevant to us. Literally, we could care less about NC State.
That's not what old school Tar Heel fans would say. That's just what you get. That's just what you new Tar Heel fans that only care about Duke want to say.
No, I mean, I've been watching UNC my entire life, and I have never really cared about State. I
So
mean,
who's your rival in football then?
Duke
That's not much of a rivalry. That's like
in the
Clemson
battle
saying
for the victory belt. We
that's like
literally have
that's like Clemson saying their rivals are Georgia Tech.
the rivals are South Carolina. You could have
It's
just used
this
their actual rival. You
Yeah,
could
but
have
so
just
that's not much better than well, no, that is better than Georgia Tech, but it's not much better. Bro, these glasses are starting to hurt.
yeah, but I mean, it doesn't matter how good or bad the rivalry is there. Like I mean, it's a rivalry.
Yeah, that's how y'all see it. That's how y'all see it.
Yeah, the correct way of seeing it. You guys can think you're our rivals all you want, but literally anyone will tell you that UNC and Duke are rivals.
You can have more than one rivalry. Just because the rivalry with Duke is bigger doesn't mean State's still on a rival.
Well, UNC doesn't consider State a rival. We consider you guys like the little brother. So
We'll see what happens when we play you guys in football.
we sure will.
It's not going to look very good for Chapel Hill. Their defense couldn't stop a nosebleed.
All right, we'll see.
Seriously, y'all have let up like what? You let up 28 to Georgia State, like almost 30 to Florida A&M, and 61 to App State. Which I can't use App State
Yeah,
anymore as like a shot to the head because App State beat A&M. So that's like no longer a that's no longer a shots fired thing to bring up. But we'll
yeah.
see. We'll see how State performs this week. We're wearing our black uniforms, which, historically speaking, I don't think we've won a single game wearing those. So we're probably gonna lose to Texas Tech. Honestly, we do not play good in those black uniforms. Like it's bad, and it seems we always play Wake Forest too.
Mm.
Not looking forward to it. But
Well,
State still
UNC doesn't have a game this week.
State still ranked pretty well. We actually looked really good against Charleston Southern, even though it was Charleston Southern. Like our play calling was good. We were operating as we should. And so
Yeah.
that was kind of nice. Let's see other games. Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about what would have been the greatest upset of the week potentially.
All right.
Texas and Alabama.
Yeah, I took Texas spread, so I was pretty happy. Uh, because the
That that was
spread
smart.
was like 20 and a half, 21 and a half, something like that. And I mean, I I was like, wow. I mean, everyone was fading my pick. Everyone was like, Preston, who you got in Texas, Bama? And I was like, dude, Texas plus 20 and a half. And everyone's like, all right, Bama minus 20 and a half. Let's hit it, boys. We're gonna make some money
That
tonight.
was a good pick. Did your parlay hit? Your 4 leg parlay did it hit?
It did not. I needed one more point for the over hit in the UNC game, and then it would have hit. But yeah,
What was
that
the
was
over under
pretty
and what was the over under 70?
63 and a half, I think.
Oh, it was 60. There were 63 points, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, 35 to 28.
Oh, that
I thought
sucks.
16.5 was a lock too. I was so happy with that. But I hit my under for the Marshall Notre Dame game. That was a huge
Yeah.
bet that I hit. That won me nothing because the parlay didn't hit.
And then the
And
other one
then
was what, like
Texas spread that hit, and then um, there was one more spread that I hit, but I can't remember. It had to be like a decent game that I bet on.
Was it Ohio State?
No, I was not touching Ohio State. Not
Um,
after their game against Notre Dame.
Georgia?
No, I don't really touch a lot of the huge spreads with like the top teams. I'm trying to think. Who else played? Jeez.
Was it an ACC school?
Um,
Was it Wake
Let me
Forest and Vanderbilt?
actually. It was, yeah. Wake Forest spread
Yeah, that was a good one too
13
because
and a half.
they beat Vandy pretty bad.
I figured they
All
would.
right.
I mean,
Do we know what the timeline on Quinn Ewers is? Like, is he coming back this season or is he out?
I have no idea.
I didn't see much on that, dude. I was and that Texas was about that close, and I'm not even exaggerating. Like, that's not that much. Texas was this close to knocking them
That's a good
off.
amount.
Bryce Young was Bryce Young was about to get sacked. Texas sent an edge rusher in, and Bryce Young caught it at the last second and got out of the way. If he makes that sack, there's no way Bama kicks that field goal. They lose.
Yeah. And then the only other big game, well, Baylor BYU was pretty big.
That
But
was
I
pretty
mean,
good. Texas Tech and Houston was pretty good.
I don't really have anything to say about Baylor BYU because BYU was favored, and I took. The only thing I have to say is that I freaking hate that game because I took Baylor as the money line underdog and lost money on that
Rip.
game.
Oh,
I
Florida
literally woke
Kentucky.
up. That's what I was gonna get to, but I literally woke up at like 2 a.m. and the game was still going on.
That's BYU for you.
It was it was ridiculous. But yeah, Kentucky beating Florida, that was a good one.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised at that. I mean, I knew Florida wasn't number 12, but I thought they would put up a better showing than they did. Pittsburgh and
Yeah.
Tennessee was pretty good. Um, but yeah, that's about what I had for college. I don't know of much of the matchups going on this weekend. I haven't really looked at it that much yet. I will for sure soon.
Yeah, I
Here's
don't
one
think there's
interesting
a
thing. Mike Trout for the Los Angeles Angels set a franchise record for most games in a row with home runs. How many did he do?
I have no clue.
Take a guess.
Dude, there's no chance that I'm anywhere close. You might as well just tell me.
How many games in a row did he hit a home run in?
I don't know. I feel like it's not going to be like something that I think is like outrageous, but I feel like it's still going to be pretty impressive. So I'm going to go with like 7.
Yep, you're completely right. Good job.
Wow. What a lucky guess. I was gonna go like 5, but I was like, I think that's a
So
little low.
the MLB record is 8, and they played today, and he did not get one. So I was really rooting for him, man. But oh
Yeah.
well.
Looking forward to next week.
Thursday night
BYU plays
football.
Oregon.
Thursday night football is what this week?
Oh, that's a good one. Chiefs and
Oh, is
Chargers.
it Chiefs and Chargers? Oh yes. And they're gonna be playing with
That's
this
good.
the little slim Amazon ball that was totally real.
Yeah. The winner of this game is gonna win the AFC West.
I believe so. I'm rooting for the Chargers 100%.
Me too. I like the Chargers this year. But anyways, in college, BYU visits Oregon this week.
Good game.
That's a pretty big one.
Good game.
Um, UL Monroe visits Alabama.
That's
Huge game for Bama.
yeah, a huge game for Bama. Yo, Monroe, man,
But yeah, that's
they don't got anything to lose. Bama's got everything to lose
yeah,
after their showing last week.
but yeah, that's really the only like big game. Oh, Miami and Texas A&M. That's a big one.
It would have been last week.
It's still a big
Big
game. They're
big
both
test
ranked.
big test for Miami though, because Texas A&M is probably ticked. Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely ticked. I mean, they went from beating Alabama last year to to getting beaten by App State this year. So
And then the nightcap is a good one. Hawaii playing at home against Duquesne. That's gonna be a good game.
yeah,
We got East Carolina playing Campbell. Good game there. North
ECU
Carolina
is gonna just.
A&T, Duke.
I bet you North Carolina A&T wins that.
I would agree with you there. We got Louisiana playing Rice. That could be
That's
exciting.
if only it was Jerry Rice. That'd be nice.
But yeah, not really too much going on.
Who the Dolphins have this week?
Dolphins have the Ravens this week, I believe.
Ooh, actually, that's a winnable game for y'all.
Yeah, Ravens didn't look too solid against the Jets. So
All right,
yeah, we have Ravens Sunday.
we have the Niners, who we have owned
Mm,
the last 10 years. So let's hope
that
it
would be
can.
an interesting game to watch.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Niners and Trey Lance trying to rebound off of a horrible Week 1 loss, and you've got us still trying to figure out how the heck we won in Week 1.
Yeah,
Only team with a win in the NFC West.
yeah. Well, this episode will probably go up. Well, it's Wednesday right now, so it'll probably go up Wednesday. And then there will probably be an episode up Thursday morning too to talk about what we're looking forward to this next week, because this one's probably getting a little long. Um, but yeah, two very quick back-to-back episodes for you guys,
Yeah.
and then we got another football weekend. So
All
lots
right,
of exciting
guys.
stuff.
All right, guys. Drop down some comments below. Let us know who you're looking forward to watching. Let us know some of your favorite games from the past weekend. Make sure to like and subscribe. Go check out our Discord. Link will be in the description. And yeah, thanks for watching, y'all.
Goodbye.